On my birthday, she left a note that said, "I found someone better." But that wasn't the worst part. Birthdays always used to mean hope to me. I'd wake up before the sun, take a deep breath, and think, this year will be different. Liza and I had a tradition: every birthday, we'd do something special. Go somewhere. Try something new. But today, everything felt off. Not just the weather, not just the silence in the apartment. It was something I couldn't name, like a cold draft of air that shouldn't be there. We had been living together for over a year and a half. We were engaged. Our wedding was 6 months away. We'd picked the venue, we'd even started arguing about table arrangements. Everything was moving forward like clockwork, or so I thought. I woke up alone. That wasn't strange, not really. She had early shifts sometimes. But there was no smell of coffee. No sound of the shower. Just, nothing. The room felt wrong. Then I saw it, a piece of pale pink paper, folded neatly, lying on her pillow. At first, I thought it was one of those cute little birthday notes she liked to write. I smiled to myself. Maybe she left early to grab a surprise. I opened it. "Happy birthday, my love. Today, you're closer to yourself than ever before." I kept reading. The handwriting was hers. It was soft. Kind. Familiar. But then my eyes hit the next part. "But I can't be part of your life anymore. I found someone better." My brain didn't compute it right away. I had to read it 3 times before it made sense. Even then, it didn't. Found someone better? Like I was a used car? A placeholder? I stood up slowly. The floor felt cold against my bare feet. I stared at the paper like it might change if I looked long enough. But it didn't. The words were the same. The meaning didn't shift. She was gone. Gone. No warning. No fight. No goodbye, just a sentence that rewrote everything I thought I knew. The apartment looked the same, but it was as if it had been hollowed out. Her coffee cup was still on the kitchen table, lipstick mark on the rim. There was a scarf on the coat rack. Her shoes were still by the door. She hadn't taken everything. Just the important stuff. I checked my phone. No texts. No missed calls. I called her. Straight to voicemail. I typed a message, deleted it, typed another one, and stared at it. What do you even say? Come back? Is this a joke? Please tell me I'm dreaming. I walked to the bedroom, opened the closet. Half of her things were gone. The other half, untouched. It was like she left just enough to remind me she'd been real. I sat on the bed. I didn't cry. I didn't move. I just sat there with the note in my hand, reading it over and over, as if reading it again would unlock some secret layer of meaning. But it never did. I don't remember how long I sat there before I got up. Maybe an hour. Maybe 2. At some point, I walked outside. I just needed air. The sun was rising. The street looked the same. The world didn't care that mine had collapsed. I went to the coffee shop around the corner. I didn't know why. I just walked in, stood in line, and ordered her usual drink. Hazelnut latte, 1 sugar. I took it to the park and sat on a bench. And that's where I am now, holding this coffee I don't want, writing this, hoping someone, anyone, will tell me what the hell just happened. I sat there for what must have been over an hour. The coffee had gone cold in my hands, untouched. I didn't know what I was waiting for. Maybe for her to come walking around the corner, maybe for a text saying it was all some twisted joke. But nothing happened. The world carried on. People passed me by, couples holding hands, a kid on a scooter, an older man feeding birds. Life went on for everyone except me. My phone buzzed in my pocket, and for a second, my heart jumped. But it wasn't her. Just a calendar notification, Liza's surprise birthday dinner, 7 p.m. The one I had planned for weeks. The one I had secretly arranged with her best friend, rented a private room for, even rehearsed the speech I was going to give. I almost laughed. Not because it was funny, but because it was absurd. One minute you're choosing napkins and desserts and thinking about the playlist, the next you're sitting alone in a park with someone else's latte and a letter that splits your life in half. I started texting her again. I don't even know what I wrote anymore, fragments, questions, unfinished thoughts. All left undelivered. Not even read. Back at the apartment, it was quiet. Uncomfortably quiet. I started noticing all the little things she'd taken, the tiny photo frame from the shelf, her favorite mug, the perfume bottle from the bathroom sink. She hadn't emptied the place, but she'd removed herself in a way that made her absence unmistakable. I opened our shared drawer in the hallway. The one where we kept spare keys, receipts, random junk. Her spare key was there. Neatly placed. As if she'd taken the time to think through even that. She didn't want me to think she forgot anything. She wanted this to be complete. The more I looked around, the more I noticed the precision in her exit. Nothing rushed. Nothing accidental. She had planned this. Maybe for days. Maybe longer. That realization hit me harder than the note itself. If she had left in a storm of emotion, I could have blamed the moment. If there had been yelling, I could have told myself we both made mistakes. But this? This was clean. Cold. Methodical. And that hurt in a way I can't explain. By afternoon, her mother called. She didn't know anything. At least, that's what she said. I believed her. She sounded surprised, confused. I told her about the note. She went silent for a long time before saying, "I'm so sorry," and hanging up. I think she was crying. Evening crept in, and I sat on the couch, lights off, phone still in my hand. I scrolled through our photos. Her smile in every one. Us on vacation. Us cooking dinner. Us laughing about some dumb movie. None of it made sense anymore. Were those moments real for her? Did she already know back then that she'd leave? That night, I couldn't sleep. I didn't even try. I just lay there, staring at the ceiling, the note on the nightstand like a shadow in the dark. That's when I decided to find out the truth. Because people don't just vanish from your life like that, not unless they're hiding something. And I was going to find out what. The next morning, I woke up with the same dull throb behind my eyes that I'd had the night before. I hadn't really slept, just drifted in and out of restless loops of thought, haunted by her voice, her laugh, the faint smell of her shampoo on the pillow beside me. The note was still there. I didn't touch it. Couldn't. It sat like a gravestone between what we had and whatever this was now. I started with the obvious. Her phone number, still disconnected. No updates on social media either. She hadn't posted since last week, and even that was just a filtered photo of her salad at some cafe downtown. The caption, "Guess who finally found time for self-care." I stared at that caption for too long. It felt like a clue. Or maybe I was just desperate to turn anything into a lead. By mid-morning, I'd convinced myself this wasn't just a breakup. It was too clean. Too quiet. I wasn't even angry. I was unsettled. Liza was always expressive. Emotional. She cried during movies. Left sticky notes around the apartment with little inside jokes or reminders. She couldn't even hide when she was annoyed. I'd always know from the way she closed drawers just a little too hard. But now she had erased herself. Surgically. And that felt wrong. So I called her best friend, Ava. "Ava, hey. Sorry to bother you, have you seen Liza?" There was a pause. A strange one. Not since the day before yesterday," she said. "Why?" "She left. I mean, she's gone. She left me a note. Said she found someone else." Another pause. Then, "Wait, what? She didn't tell you?" "No, oh my God, no, she didn't say anything. She texted me yesterday morning like everything was normal. We were supposed to meet next week to go dress shopping." Dress shopping? For the wedding? Jesus, I had no idea. "Are you okay?" "I don't know." Ava came over that afternoon, bringing tea and awkward silence. She sat on the edge of the couch like the apartment itself had become a crime scene. She looked around, eyes catching on the empty spaces, the subtle absences. She noticed the note too. I'd left it on the coffee table, face down. "Can I read it?" she asked. I nodded. She flipped it open, scanned it once, and her face changed. Something passed over her expression I couldn't quite read: surprise, confusion, maybe guilt. "You okay?" I asked. She didn't answer immediately. I didn't see this coming. At all. She didn't mention anyone. Not even jokingly. If she was seeing someone else, she kept it buried deep. We sat in silence for a while. Then she said, "Do you want to know something weird? Please." She cancelled dinner plans with me 3 times last month. Said she had work. But then I saw her tagged in someone's story, not doing anything shady, just out. Laughing. With people I didn't know. My pulse jumped. What kind of people? Don't know. I asked her and she just brushed it off. Said it was a work thing. Ava paused. You don't think she was afraid to tell you, do you? Afraid of me? I laughed bitterly. No. There's nothing to be afraid of. We didn't fight. We barely argued. She had all the space she wanted. We were solid. Or I thought we were. The room felt heavier after that. She stayed another hour, mostly just sitting there, sipping tea, neither of us really knowing what to say. Before she left, she hugged me. It was the kind of hug people give when they don't know what else to do. That night, I did something I wasn't proud of. I checked her email. She'd saved her login on the laptop we shared. I stared at the Gmail tab for what felt like forever, then typed in the password. It opened. There weren't many recent emails, nothing incriminating. But there was one from a name I didn't recognize. Subject line, last night. It was 3 days old. I clicked. Hey, I know you said you weren't ready yet. I just want you to know I'm here. That wasn't easy, but you did the right thing. He'll be fine. You deserve to be happy. No name. No signature. Just that. My stomach turned. I clicked on the sender. The email was from a generic address. No profile picture. Nothing in the thread before it. She'd deleted the rest. Or maybe used a burner account. Either way, someone had coached her through this. Someone who knew about me. And someone who wanted me out of the picture. I didn't sleep that night either. The next morning, I went to her work. I didn't plan it. I just went. She worked at a mid-size marketing firm, modern office downtown. Glass doors, plants, people who said things like synergy without irony. I asked the receptionist if Liza was in. She looked up, confused. She no longer works here, she said. What? She resigned. 2 days ago. Everything spun for a moment. Did she say where she was going? No. Just said she had a new opportunity. I left that office in a daze. She hadn't just left me. She'd left her life. It was one thing to lose her. It was another to realize she had abandoned her entire life, like it all meant nothing. Me, her job, our friends, even her family. She didn't ghost me. She ghosted everything. When I got home from her office, I just stood in the hallway for a while, keys in hand, staring at the closed door. The apartment felt different now. Not just emptier, haunted. Every object was a memory, and every memory was now a lie. I stepped inside slowly, half expecting to find another note waiting for me. Some follow-up. Some explanation. Nothing. I spent that day going through her things. Not out of spite, I wasn't angry. Not yet. I was just looking for anything. A clue. An answer. A reason. Her laptop was gone, of course. But she'd left behind a notebook she kept on the kitchen shelf. She used to jot down ideas for writing projects or listicles she never published. It was half full, pages dated sporadically. I flipped through it, and toward the back, I found a few entries that weren't like the rest. They weren't dated. They weren't formatted. They were Letters. Unsent. One started with, "To the version of you I used to love," and it hit me like a sucker punch. I read it slowly, as if by doing so I could reverse the outcome. To the version of you I used to love. I wish I could explain what changed. I wish I could say it was one moment, one fight, one lie. But it wasn't. It was everything. And nothing. You didn't do anything wrong. That's what makes it worse. You were steady. Predictable. Safe. And somewhere along the way, I realized I didn't want safe anymore. I know what I'm doing is cruel. I know you don't deserve to be hurt. But I also know I can't stay just because I'm afraid to leave. There were more, fragments of guilt, apology, even affection. One ended with, "Maybe one day you'll understand. Maybe one day I will, too." I closed the notebook. My hands were trembling. So it wasn't sudden. She'd been unraveling this in her head for months. Planning her exit in pieces, while still sleeping beside me every night, still whispering, "I love you," like nothing was wrong. And yet, somehow, that didn't make it easier. It made it worse. Because she gave me no chance to fix it. No warning. No hint. Just a silent verdict, and a vanished life. That night, I called her sister. "Hey, yeah. I'm sorry to call like this, do you know where Liza is?" A long pause. Then, with a strange edge to her voice, "She didn't tell you? She left me. Left the apartment. Quit her job." Another pause. I knew she was going away. I didn't know she left everything. Did she say where she was going? No. She just called me a few days ago and said she needed to disappear for a while. I thought maybe it was a trip. Some reset thing. She didn't sound upset. Just, "Sure." "She left a note," I said quietly. "Said she found someone better." The silence that followed was longer than I could stand. When her sister finally spoke, her voice had dropped to a whisper. "I think I know who." My heart skipped. "Who?" She hesitated. "It's just a guess. A few months ago, she started talking about this guy from a workshop she was leading, a client from one of those consulting things. She said he was different. That he challenged her. I asked if it was anything inappropriate, and she swore it wasn't. But she mentioned him a few times. Then she stopped mentioning him at all. "Do you have a name?" "No. Just that he worked in tech. Big shot type. Said he was intense, charismatic." Made her feel seen. Seen. That word stung more than I expected. "Thank you," I said. "Please don't do anything reckless," she added. "I'm as shocked as you are, but if she really left, she must have thought she had no other choice." I hung up and sat in the dark again. The idea of her falling for someone else wasn't what hurt the most. What hurt was the idea that she'd felt invisible beside me, that she'd been searching for more while I was already giving her everything I had. I spent the next 2 days diving deeper. I found a shared account we'd made to plan the wedding. Buried in the inbox was a forwarded receipt, a hotel booking. Under her name. The check-in date was the same day she disappeared. The hotel was 3 hours away, in a quiet coastal town we'd once visited together. I called them. "Hi, I'm trying to reach a guest who might be staying there under the name Liza Hart." The receptionist was polite, but firm. "I'm sorry, we can't share information about our guests. It's important. She's missing. Please." She left without telling anyone. A beat. Then, "Hold, please." A soft piano track filled the line. Then the voice returned. "I can't confirm details, sir, but I can tell you this, she checked out yesterday morning." "Alone." "Alone?" "Yes, sir. Alone." Something tightened in my chest. So, if she was with someone, it wasn't a romantic getaway. Or maybe it was, and it ended. I drove to that town the next morning. I didn't know what I was hoping for. A trace? A sighting? A clue? I walked the shoreline where we'd once taken photos. I passed the cafe we'd argued in, then made up over pie and terrible coffee. And for a moment, I could almost hear her laugh again. I could almost pretend she'd never left. But that illusion shattered when I noticed someone watching me from across the street. Tall. Male. Late 30s, maybe early 40s. Sharp suit. Didn't fit the beach town vibe. He was pretending to read a newspaper. But he wasn't flipping pages. He was just staring. And in that moment, I knew. This wasn't over. This wasn't random. Someone was watching me. I kept walking, pretending I hadn't noticed the man across the street. My heart was pounding, but I tried to stay calm. Maybe it was nothing. Maybe he was just a tourist, killing time with a newspaper and a good view. But something about him felt off, too clean, too still. I turned down a side street, ducking into a bookstore. It was small and quiet, the kind of place Liza would have loved. I stayed inside for 10 minutes, pretending to browse. When I stepped back out, the man was gone. But now the paranoia had rooted itself deep. Was I just cracking under the stress? Or was someone actually following me? Back at the car, I sat behind the wheel, gripping it tighter than necessary. I tried to remember everything Liza had ever said about that workshop client, the intense one. She'd only mentioned him a few times, but in retrospect, I remembered the shift in her tone when she did. Admiration. Curiosity. The kind of tone someone uses when they're drawn to someone they don't want to be drawn to. I drove around the town for a while longer, hoping maybe I'd see her. Hoping I'd spot that man again. But nothing. It was like chasing shadows. By the time I returned to the apartment that evening, I was exhausted in a way sleep couldn't fix. The kind of tired that lives in your bones. I collapsed onto the couch and stared at the ceiling until night swallowed the room. Around 1 a.m., I received an email from an address I didn't recognize. No subject line. No name. Just a single sentence. Stop looking. That was it. No threats. No explanations. Just those 2 words. I read it 10 times. Then 20. It was sent from a secure, masked domain. I couldn't trace it, couldn't reply. Stop looking. Whoever sent it knew I'd gone to the town. Knew I was asking questions. Someone wanted this buried. And the only thing more terrifying than the message itself, was the possibility that Liza knew. The next day, I met up with Ava again. This is going to sound insane, I told her, but I think someone's watching me. I think there's more to this. She didn't laugh. Didn't scoff. She just looked at me, really looked, and said, "What do you need?" I need to know who this guy is. The one from the workshop. The one she was close with. Ava frowned. You really think he's involved? I don't think anything. I need to find the missing piece. She thought for a long time, then finally said, she mentioned his first name once. Gregor. Gregor what? She didn't say. But she said he ran some kind of startup. Something with data analytics. She said he spoke at conferences. A real visionary, she called him. That was enough. I spent the next 2 days scouring LinkedIn, tech sites, press releases. There were a few Gregors who matched the profile, but only one that fit perfectly, Gregor Van. CEO of a mid-sized data firm. Charismatic. A regular speaker at innovation summits. Married once, divorced, no kids. I found a photo of him. It was the man from the beach. There was no more doubt. This wasn't just an affair. This was a setup. A full-scale life extraction. I began compiling everything, the note, the hotel receipt, the email, screenshots of his LinkedIn, timestamps of the day she left. I wasn't sure what I was going to do with it yet, but I needed a record. Proof. For myself, if nothing else. And then, 3 days later, I saw her. I was in the city, walking out of a convenience store, when I caught a glimpse of someone across the street, dark hair, familiar walk, a yellow coat I'd bought her last Christmas. It was Liza. My legs moved before my brain could. I crossed the street without looking, weaving through people, calling her name once, softly, like a question. She turned. And it was her. For a second, the world stopped. My lungs forgot what they were supposed to do. She didn't smile. Didn't cry. Just stared. "Liza," I said, my voice cracking. She looked tired. Thinner. Not like she was suffering, just different. Like someone who had walked through something on the other side of a door I hadn't been invited to open. "What are you doing here?" she asked, her voice flat. "I could ask you the same thing." She glanced around. "You shouldn't be here." "Why?" I asked. "Because of him? I told you to stop looking." It hit me like a slap. "That email, it was you?" She didn't answer. "You vanished. You left your whole life behind. I deserve something." "You deserve peace," she said softly. "And you won't get it this way." I stepped closer. "Tell me the truth." She looked over my shoulder. For a second, I thought she might run. "He's dangerous," she whispered. "More than you know." "Then why are you with him?" She hesitated. "Because I have to be." The way she said it, like it wasn't her choice anymore. I opened my mouth to ask more, but she shook her head. "If you care about me, stop. Walk away. You don't understand what he's capable of." And then she turned and left, disappearing into the crowd. I didn't follow. I stood there for a long time, replaying her words. I have to be. You don't understand what he's capable of. This wasn't just about heartbreak anymore. This was about control. And if she couldn't get out, maybe I still could. I didn't go home that night. I drove for hours without knowing where I was going, the city lights eventually dissolving into dark highways and small towns. Her face stayed with me, burned into my vision like an afterimage. The way she had looked at me, hollow, distant, scared. The way she said, "If you care about me, stop." I couldn't stop. Not anymore. Whatever she was involved in, it wasn't about love. It was about power, someone else's power over her. Maybe over others, too. Gregor wasn't just a charming executive. He was something else. And Liza, she was either trapped in his orbit or protecting me from getting pulled into it. I didn't know which scared me more. By morning, I was parked outside Gregor Van's office building, a sleek black tower with tinted glass that didn't reflect sunlight so much as devour it. I watched people come and go, all buttoned up and polished, moving like gears in a machine. I wasn't sure what I was looking for. A sign? A crack? Then I saw him. Gregor. He exited the building through a private entrance, no security, just confidence. He walked like a man who thought the world was already his. Behind him, two men followed at a distance, silent, alert. Bodyguards. Not flashy, but definitely there. I took a photo of him on my phone. Not because I needed evidence, I already had enough. I just wanted to capture the image of the man who had taken everything from me. Back home, I compiled everything into a single folder on my laptop: emails, photos, timelines, notes from conversations. I didn't know what I was going to do with it yet. Go to the police? A journalist? Liza's family? That night, I received another email. Same anonymous address. You were warned. Let it go. Attached was a photo. Of me. Taken that morning outside the office building. My blood ran cold. They weren't just watching me. They were letting me know they could do more. I closed the laptop and paced the apartment, pulse racing. I didn't sleep. Couldn't. Every creak of the floorboards made me flinch. Every buzz of my phone felt like a detonator. And still, a voice inside me whispered, "Don't stop." The next day, I sent everything I had to Ava. I didn't explain, I just wrote, "If something happens to me, make this public." Then I emailed the same file to a burner address I'd created, and left copies on 2 USB drives I hid in different parts of the apartment. I was prepared now. What I wasn't prepared for was what came next. That evening, someone knocked at the door. I didn't answer. A second knock. Then a voice. "Please. It's me. Liza. I opened the door slowly. She looked worse than before. Pale. Nervous. Her eyes darted past me into the apartment, like she expected someone else to be there. Can I come in? I stepped aside. She didn't sit. She just stood there, arms crossed, as if wrapping herself in a barrier I couldn't breach. I don't have long, she said. He doesn't know I'm here. What is this, Liza? I asked. What the hell is going on? She hesitated. Then said, he's not who he pretends to be. He runs more than a company. He runs a system. Blackmail. Coercion. Surveillance. I didn't know at first. I thought he was just charming. Smart. Different. And now? I tried to leave him, she said. The night before I left you. That's why I wrote the note. I thought I could break away clean. But I was wrong. He showed me things, recordings, files. Said if I didn't come with him, he'd destroy you. Your job. Your life. She swallowed hard. He has eyes everywhere. Contacts. People who owe him favors. People in law enforcement. Media. You could have told me, I said. We could have gone together. You would have been the first target, she whispered. You still might be. I stepped closer. So what now? She looked up, and for the first time since I'd seen her again, I saw a spark of the woman I'd loved. I need your help. I've been pretending to go along with it. But I've found something, documents, recordings. Proof of what he's doing. I can get it out. But I need somewhere safe. Somewhere off-grid. I didn't even think. My uncle's cabin. 2 hours north. No cell reception. No cameras. She nodded. Tomorrow. I'll bring everything. After that, we disappear. We agreed on a time and place. She left quietly. And for the first time in weeks, I felt like I could breathe. The next morning, I drove to the cabin early. Cleaned it up. Prepared. Waited. No car arrived. An hour passed. Then 2. I tried to call. Her number was disconnected. Again. And that's when I realized. She hadn't fooled him. He had fooled us both. I checked my phone, all my emails, including the files I'd sent to Ava, gone. Deleted. Somehow, someone had accessed everything. I rushed back to the apartment. USB drives, both missing. My heart sank. There was only one thing left. The notebook. I ran to the kitchen. It was gone. And on the counter, in its place, was a note. Just one line. Some things are better left buried. That was the last I heard from her. I don't know where she is now. I don't know if she escaped, or if she ever really tried. All I know is, she's gone. And so is the truth. And maybe that's how it was always meant to end. Thank you all for watching the video, and see you soon.